Greetings from Learn English with me and welcome to my lesson. This is lecture number 5 based on root words. Before I proceed, let me tell and remind all the students who have newly joined this channel that there is series of lectures based on root words. So do watch them and continue with this lesson. So let's move towards the lesson. Today the root I've selected is LOQ and LOC, which means to talk or to speak. The origin of this root comes from Latin, all right? So basically the origin is, it's derived from the Latin word LOQUI. So let's discuss all the possible words that have been derived from this root, LOC or LOS, right? So in today's lesson, I will be discussing 12 words having the root LOQ or LOC, which means to talk or to speak. So more or less this root means talking or speaking, right? So the first word I've selected is loquacious. Repeating back, loquacious. And it's an adjective. Remember that words ending with OUS are mostly adjectives in English, right? So now what loquacious means? Having the tendency to talk a lot. What loquacious means? The tendency, someone who has the tendency to talk a lot, to speak a lot. All right? So this is very important, the tendency to talk a lot. So let's talk about some of the synonyms related to someone who talks a lot. So we could use some alternative words like verbose, wordy, or talkative. So someone who speaks a lot, you may call that person as a verbose, wordy, or a talkative person, right? So the first root we've done with loquacious, right? Now moving to the second root, the second word, circumlocution. Circumlocution. Now we could see that the root word LOC is here, right? Now circumlocution, again it's an adjective. What it means? Talking in a roundabout manner or an indirect way of speaking. In Urdu we say guma pira ke baat karna, right? So that means that not a direct speech, not talking in a direct manner, but an indirect manner, right? So in English there is an idiom to beat around the bushes. So that means not to talk on the topic, all right? To move away from the topic. So circumlocution means to talk in a roundabout manner or an indirect speech, not directly speaking on the topic. All right, now moving to the third word, interlocution. So again, we could see that the root word is here, interlocution. So now what interlocution means? If there is LOC there, so we could tell ourselves that it suggests the meaning to talk or to speak. So more or less is related to talking or speaking. So in interlocution, well, a dialogue, a discussion, or a conversation. What is interlocution? It could be a dialogue, a discussion, or a conversation. So for example, a discussion between two or more people. Now the person who is doing the speech is called interlocutor, right? So for example, two people are talking together and the third person comes in between, could be called as the interlocutor, right? So especially for example, two people are fighting And the third one who comes in the mid is a mediator, could be called as interlocutor, right? So moving with the fourth word, again, colloquial. Colloquial, again, we could see the root word here, LOQ. So we could suggest ourselves, we could tell ourselves that more or less it's related to talking or speaking. Colloquial, used in conversation. What it means? That if something is colloquial, if a word is colloquial, a phrase is colloquial, that means that it's an informal speech, or it's used in informal writing. So let me give you an example. Whenever you come across a word, and when you check it in the dictionary, so the dictionary will give details about the particular word. The dictionary could tell you about the meaning of it, the synonym, all right, the antonym of it, the part of speech, and somewhere the dictionary could also tell you about whether it's a formal word or informal word. So if it's an informal word, this particular word could be used, that it's a colloquial word, phrase, or expression. So some of the phrases, all right, some of the expressions are colloquial. So that means that they can be used in oral conversation, all right, that could be used in informal conversation, all right, or informal writing, but not in a formal conversation or writing. Okay, so the next time when you learn a word, check it in the dictionary. So the dictionary will give you details about whether the word is colloquial or not, all right. Okay, moving ahead. So the fifth word is eloquent. Eloquent, again we could see that the root word LOQ is here. So it's an adjective. Yes, based on the root, we could feel that more or less it's related to talking or speaking. Eloquent, one who speaks very fluently or clearly is called to be eloquent, all right. So if someone is eloquent, it means that the person can clearly express his opinion, all right, publicly, all right. So such a person could be called as eloquent. So by the way, whatever is your mother tongue, you could be eloquent in your mother tongue, but as far as the other tongues are concerned, the other languages are concerned, you might not be eloquent, right? So I'm eloquent in my mother tongue, but I might not be eloquent in English or in Chinese or in other language. So moving ahead, melloquent. Melloquent. All right. So now here there are two roots within this word. There is melly, I have already underlined it, and there is loc as well. Melloquent. So melly is a root which refers to something that is sweet, or we could say honey, right? So melly means sweet or honey, and loquent means we could feel the root, and based on the root we could say that it's more or less talking about speaking or talking. So melloquent means speaking sweetly or harmoniously, right? So especially when the tone is sweet, so we could say that that is melloquent, right? Moving ahead, multiloquent. Multiloquent, so multi means more, so multiloquent, again the root word loc is here. So excessively talkative, more than required, right? So that is called multiloquent. And then the next word, grandiloquent, again the root word is here, loc. So using long or complicated words to impress people. So grandiloquent means using complicated words and phrases, all right, to impress people. The purpose is not communication, but the purpose is to impress people. So in your daily life, you might know some people who are grandiloquent. I mean that unnecessarily they are using certain words and phrases that it's really complicated for you to understand. So moving ahead, soliloquy. Now this particular word we have discussed in the previous lesson when I was discussing the root word sol. So sol means alone, so single or one, individual. So soliloquy, so again there is the root word loc is here. So sol, alone, and loc, conversation, talk, or speech. So we could say that alone, talking alone, yeah, more or less it's making the same sense, that talking out aloud to oneself. Okay, that is called soliloquy. A little background information about this word. So, but particularly this word is used in the domain of literature, stage performances, plays and dramas. So when a character appears on the stage and talks to himself loudly is called to be soliloquy. I mean talking out loud to oneself in the context of a stage, play, or drama. Okay, number 10, somniloquent. Again, there is another root. Som or somni is yet another root which refers to sleep or sleeping. Like you might have heard the word insomnia, all right? Sleeplessness, all right? So somniloquent means that if som is a root and if it means sleep and loc means talk or speech, it means that talking in sleep, or yes, some people have the habit that they talk when they are sleeping. It might have happened with you that if someone visits your house, a friend, a family member, when you sleep together and then you get up early in the morning and you tell your friend, hey man, what are you doing? You've been talking in your sleep. So that means that the person is somniloquent, that he speaks during his sleep. Ambiloquent. Ambiloquent, again we find the root LOQ here. Ambiguous talk or unclear speech. Now, for all those who don't know the meaning of ambiguous, so again OUS is here. So based on this we could say that this is an adjective. So ambiguity. What is ambiguity? When there is uncertainty, when there isn't clarity, so that is called ambiguous, right? There are chances of dual meaning. So if something is not clear, especially in terms of speech or meaning, so we could say that it is ambiguous. So in ambiloquent, it's an ambiguous talk. It means that it's unclear speech, right? Due to any reason, based on pronunciation, meaning, word choice, whatever. And the last word is obloquy. Obloquy, right? Now what is obloquy? That is an abusive language used to criticize or blame someone. What is obloquy? Obloquy, again the root word LOQ is here. An abusive language used to criticize or blame someone. So let me take a quick review of what we learned today. In today's lesson, we have talked about a root word, and we have discussed almost 12 words that have been originated from the root. So the root was LOQ and LOC, which means to talk or to speak. So whenever you come across any word having the root word LOQ or LOC, you should tell yourself that it suggests the meaning of talking or speaking. So it will make vocab learning easy for you. And a couple of times I've suggested that if you want to enhance your vocabulary, you should pay attention to root words. Okay, so look, just learning a single root makes you learn so many words together. So let me take a quick review. Loquacious, having the tendency to talk a lot, right? If someone is verbose, very talkative, very wordy, we could say that the person is loquacious. Circumlocution, guma phira ke baat karna, right? So that means that not talking in a direct manner, an indirect speech, all right, talking in a roundabout manner, right? Beating about the bush. This is an idiom we use in English. Interlocution, a dialogue, a discussion, or a conversation, right? And a person who does the job is called the interlocutor, right? And then colloquial. I suggested you an example that whenever you learn a word, check it in the dictionary. So the dictionary will give you details about the word. Somewhere you will find whether the word expression is colloquial or not, right? Now if a word or a phrase or an expression is colloquial, that means that it can be used in conversation only, all right? That means that it's informal but not formal. And then eloquent, someone who speaks very clearly or fluently is called eloquent, right? And then melloquent, so melly, I told you that this again a root word. Melly means sweet or honey. So if someone speaks sweetly or harmoniously, especially the tone is sweet, that means that the person is melloquent. Multi means more. So loquent, excessively talkative. I mean more than required. So it's somehow giving negative connotation, not the positive connotation. And then grandiloquent, using long, complicated words to impress people. So you might know people who are grandiloquent. I mean, using certain phrases, words, expressions that are really complicated for you to understand. And then soliloquy, in order to understand this word, we need to tell ourselves that the origin of this word comes from drama, plays. Okay, so whenever a character is on the stage and speaks loudly to himself is called soliloquy. And then somniloquent, all right, again the root word somni means sleep, loquent, so loc, talk. So when someone talks during his sleep, that is called somniloquent. Ambiloquent, ambi comes from ambiguity. Ambiguous means not clarity, all right? So ambiguous talk or unclear speech. Last one, obloquy. Obloquy, so an abusive language used to criticize or blame someone, right? So I hope today's lesson might have been beneficial for you. If it's going to be beneficial for you, so do appreciate, like, comment, and subscribe for more lessons. So that will motivate me to bring some more lessons for you. So that's all for today's lesson, and let's meet each other in the next lesson. Bye for now.